Hi everyone! Welcome back to the second half of our creepy trip across the Kinki, also known as the Kansai region of Japan. I want to thank all of you who have sent me really nice words of encouragement and understanding of my personal struggles right now. I won't be blabbing a lot today. Let's dive right in. Location 3. Awashima Shrine. Awashima Shrine stands in Kada, a coastal district in Wakayama Prefecture. It is dedicated to Tsukunahiko no Mikoto, the deity of medicine and healing. For centuries, the shrine has been known as a sacred place for women's health, safe childbirth, and fertility. But what draws visitors from across Japan is something else entirely. It is one of the country's most famous shrines for doll memorials. Within the grounds of Awashima Shrine, more than 20,000 dolls rest in quiet rows. Delicate ichimatsu dolls, porcelain French dolls, and countless folk toys offered by families from across Japan. The hauntings are said to stem from the spiritual energy within the dolls themselves. For centuries, the Japanese have believed that dolls can house the soul, that human emotions and memories are absorbed into their silent faces. In particular, the Hina dolls arranged in the precincts all face the visitors in neat rows, and many people report a strange feeling of being watched. Dolls fashioned in the image of humans, like Ichimatsu and Hina dolls, are believed to take on misfortune or act as stand-ins for their owners. Some visitors claim to sense the imprinted emotions in the shrine's old dolls, or to experience headaches or fatigue when approaching them. The dolls here are not cursed. They are vessels of remembrance, imbued with the lingering presence of those who once loved them. Visitors are urged to approach with reverence, not curiosity, as mocking or disrespecting the dolls is believed to disturb their peace and invite misfortune. Awashima Shrine is a place where beauty and sorrow coexist, a space between the living and the departed. When you visit, walk quietly, offer gratitude, and whisper a prayer for the souls that still linger within the glass eyes of the dolls of Awashima. Visitors often describe the atmosphere as both beautiful and unsettling. A solemn stillness where the line between sacred and spectral feels almost non-existent. Now, let's get into some of the whispers and legends surrounding Awashima Shrine. Number 1. The dolls that move at night. It is said that when darkness falls, the placement of the dolls changes. Those who work near the shrine claim that some faces seem to turn slightly overnight, as if they were looking at you, and then turn away. Many believe that spiritual energy flows through these dolls, manifesting in subtle physical ways. Number 2. The doll whose hair grows. Among the thousands of offerings, there is said to be a Japanese doll whose hair continues to grow on its own. It is not displayed to the public, but priests acknowledge its existence. They believe it belonged to someone whose emotional bond was so strong that their spirit still lingers, causing the doll's hair to lengthen over time. Number 3. Whispers and laughter heard in an empty courtyard. During quiet hours or late at night, visitors have reported hearing soft voices, gentle laughter, or hushed conversations echoing across the courtyard, though no one else is there. Locals say these are the voices of spirits bound to the dolls, calling out to those who pass by. Number 4. A pull on the sleeve. Some worshippers have felt a light tug on their sleeve as they walk by. When they turn around, no one is there. It is believed these are spirits attempting to communicate, to be remembered, or perhaps simply to be acknowledged. Here are some short but true experiences and facts. Number 1. The prayer for motherhood. A woman undergoing fertility treatment once visited Awashima Shrine with her sister. While walking through the courtyard, she noticed a doll that seemed to watch her. Uneasy, she quickly left. On the drive home, a black shadow appeared in the window, and misfortunes followed for weeks afterward. Since then, she says, she prays only with a pure heart and never visits such places out of curiosity. Number 2. The photograph. A man brought a family heirloom doll to the shrine for memorial. Later, when reviewing the photos he took, he saw a woman's face reflected beside the doll, a face no one recognized. He hasn't returned since. Number 3. The voices of the dolls. A woman who visited as a child recalls hearing whispers and laughter among the dolls while her mother and grandmother prayed. Even as an adult, she remembers that moment clearly, a feeling of countless eyes watching her from every shelf. Number 4. The dolls in the basement. The dolls displayed in the precincts have all undergone memorial rites to release their souls. According to the chief priest, purification is performed every morning. Displaying dolls where visitors can see them is, in fact, part of the memorial process. By having people look at them, the dolls are able to complete their role. Therefore, dolls in visible locations within the shrine do not curse or harm people, even if they leave a creepy impression. However, among the dolls brought to Awashima Shrine, there are some for which phenomena do not cease even after purification and memorial rites. Those troublesome dolls are isolated in the basement of the treasure storehouse. In the basement, normally used to store culturally valuable dolls not open to the public, there is a section in one corner where dolls that cannot be burned and are considered problematic are gathered. Among these, the most famous are several dolls said to have hair that grows. Even on the official website of Awashima Shrine, the hair-growing dolls are mentioned. It explains that these dolls are not trying to harm anyone. Rather, out of a desire to be seen, they tend to grow hair in places visible to the public. By contrast, dolls clearly imbued with malicious intent are purified and incinerated the same day they are brought in. According to the chief priest, such dangerous dolls are received at most once a year. Number 5. Junji Inagawa's Ghost Tale. The famed storyteller Junji Inagawa has also shared a scary story involving Awashima Shrine. Once, for filming, he borrowed 30 dolls from the shrine, but when he reviewed the footage, 31 dolls appeared on camera. Wondering if he'd miscounted, he was then invited by the chief priest to see a new underground purification facility. Shown to the basement, presumably the treasure storehouse basement, he was left alone when the priest stepped out briefly. Suddenly, the lights went out, the room went pitch black, and laughter could be heard from somewhere. As Inagawa searched for the source, the lights came back on and the priest returned. When he began moving the dolls in the spot he suspected, a boy doll with a shaved head appeared from the back. The doll grinned, teeth peeking from its mouth. Inagawa immediately understood. This was the one that had been laughing. Number 6. Did the chief priest die? Searching for Awashima Shrine online sometimes brings up suggested words like chief priest, death. However, in recent years there has been no fact of the shrine's chief priest dying. Investigation suggests this phrase is connected to a 2016 Universal Studios Japan attraction called Tatari, Curse of the Living Dolls. The attraction used 500 Japanese dolls that were at Awashima Shrine for memorial rites. USJ publicly stated on its website that the dolls were borrowed from the shrine and advertised, "Because they're from Awashima Shrine, this curse is real." While this generated buzz, it also upset former owners who had entrusted dolls for memorial at the shrine. A woman in her 50s told TV and magazines that seeing her once cherished doll used as a cursed doll in promotions was shocking. She said she had offered 5,000 yen for the memorial, indicating how much she had valued the doll. Online criticism followed. Aren't both the shrine and USJ being insensitive? Why didn't they get the original owner's permission? The Japan Doll Association also sent protests to USJ and the shrine, asking that Japanese dolls not be used as objects of fear, arguing that instilling negative images was harmful to the trade. In response, Chief Priest Mitsuho Maeda stated that because dolls are memorialized by being seen and played with, there was no problem with lending them to USJ. This aligns with the shrine's philosophy that displaying dolls where people can see them is part of the memorial process. Nevertheless, public criticism did not abate. So how much did USJ pay? From the owner's perspective, being seen and being used as a spectacle are different. As the controversy spread, some online voices quipped that the chief priest was socially dead as a religious figure. Hence the lingering search suggestion, Awashima Shrine, Chief Priest, and death. In Wakayama Prefecture, there is a place known as one of Japan's eeriest shrines, Awashima Shrine. A friend of mine once stopped there during a trip, and what she experienced still gives her chills whenever she talks about it. The shrine is famous for its dolls whose hair keeps growing, and for the more than 20,000 dolls enshrined there for memorial. Every year, people bring their old dolls to be laid to rest, and not just dolls, but strange offerings as well. Women's undergarments, and even wooden carvings of male organs, symbolizing prayers for fertility and childbirth. The entire place, she said, felt charged, quiet, reverent, yet somehow alive. Inside the grounds, the dolls are arranged by type, rows among rows of identical faces staring blankly forward. That sight alone made her uneasy. She couldn't visit the treasure hall, it required a reservation, so she wandered the stone path leading up through the grounds. That's when it happened. She suddenly felt someone tug at the sleeve of her jacket. Startled, she turned around, but no one was there. Thinking it must have been her imagination, she kept walking. A few steps later, the tug came again. Harder this time. She spun around, but nothing. No one nearby, not even a child in sight. She said she could feel it, that someone or something was beside her. Each time she tried to ignore it, the pull came again. Finally, she hurried her pace, walked straight through the rest of the shrine, and didn't look back. When she told me later, she said quietly, "It wasn't my imagination. Someone was really there, right next to me." Location 4. Sandanbeki. Have you ever heard the name Sandanbeki? It's a sheer cliff in Shirahama, Wakayama Prefecture, like Tojinbo in Fukui, which we talked about when we traveled across the Chuba region of Japan, and is designated as a place of scenic beauty by the national government. While it's a well-known Kansai sightseeing spot where you can gaze out over the beautiful seas of Nankai, it's also known as a suicide site and haunted location. Hearing Sandanbeki, which literally translates to three-tiered wall, you might assume the cliff has 3 stacked tiers, but the exact origin of the name is unknown. About 36 meters or 118 feet below Sandanbeki is a marine erosion cave that can be visited by taking an elevator down from atop the cliff. Called Sandanbeki Cave, it's said that during the Genpei War, the Kumano Navy hid their boats there. Along the roughly 200-meter or 656-foot passage is Japan's largest Benzaiten statue, suggesting people have long felt a special power in this place, a so-called power spot. Benzaiten is an East Asian Buddhist goddess that arrived in Japan during the 6th through 8th centuries. She was adopted into the Shinto religion and is now associated with dragons, snakes, local Japanese deities, wealth, fortune, protection from disease and danger, and the protection of the state. There's a large rock called the Lipstick Monument. It's said to embody prayers for the fulfillment of tragic love, and rumors that it brings success in romance have made it popular with couples. In April 2016, it was certified as a romantic spot suitable for proposals and gained nationwide fame as a lover's sanctuary. Many people even take wedding photos there. Though famous for its views and as a lover's sanctuary, it also has another face, as a haunted spot and suicide site. So what kinds of paranormal experiences do people report here? There are rumors that ghost photographs can be taken here. Given its reputation as a suicide site, perhaps the souls of those who leapt from the cliff wander and get captured in photos. Like Tojinbo, Sandanbeki also has rumors of spirits beckoning from the sea. Romantic legends aside, like boats hidden here by the Kumano Navy, there are also rumors that ghosts appear in the cave. The area around Sandanbeki is also a hot spring district famous for Shirahama hot springs, with many hotels and inns. Some of these lodgings have reports of paranormal activity. People have claimed to see figures resembling ghosts or to hear their room door rattle late at night even though no one is in the hallway. This isn't exactly paranormal, but it's curious enough to mention. Sudden Rock is the name given to a huge boulder about 4.2 meters or 14 feet long, 1.2 meters or 4 feet high, and 1 meter or 3 feet wide that suddenly appeared atop the cliff. It didn't materialize from nothing. It seems related to Typhoon number 21 in 2018, which brought fierce rain and wind. A few days after the typhoon passed, a rock was confirmed to have appeared along the promenade on the north side of the cliff. It seems to have been moved from elsewhere, either pushed up by the typhoon or shifted from another part of the cliff. Still, the idea of such a large rock moving is quite mysterious. Like Tojinbo, Sandanbeki is called a suicide site with around 10 to 15 people each year set to attempt to jump. Next to the public phone in the parking lot is a sign for the Lifeline public phone booth, and 10 yen coins are placed inside so anyone can use it. Many people are said to have been saved by making a call from here. Beautiful yet sorrowful, Sandanbeki stands as both a lover's paradise and a gateway to despair, a place where beauty and death quietly coexist. I learned that Sandanbeki, a famous tourist destination in Wakayama Prefecture, was also known as a haunted spot, but only after I had my own terrifying experience there. It was a hot day in August. My family had gone on a summer trip to Wakayama, and Sandanbeki was one of the sites on our itinerary. The weather was perfect. Clear blue skies and the strange formations of the cliffs against the shimmering sea were breathtaking. Then my younger sister suddenly said,
"Hey, that person looks like they're about to fall. Are they okay?"
She was pointing toward a distant section of the cliff, but no matter how hard we squinted, none of us could see anyone there.
"That's weird. I could have sworn I saw someone leaning over the edge."
We brushed it off and continued sightseeing, staying overnight at a hotel, and returned home the next day. While chatting as we unpacked, my sister suddenly said quietly,
"Hey, I don't think what I saw at that cliff was just my imagination." "What do you mean? You look pale. Are you feeling sick?"
my mother asked.
"I'm fine. But don't you guys see him? That person's been following us."
Ever since Sandanbeki. Following us? What person? The one I saw at the cliff.
"Where? What are you talking about?" Right here, in this room. He followed us from the cliff, to the car, to the hotel, and back home. He came in through the front door with us, and he's standing in this room right now.
The moment she said that, a sharp snapping sound echoed, and the room went dark. The lights came back on a few seconds later, but none of us could say a word. My sister wasn't the type to joke about these things. The thought that something might truly have followed us home was unbearable. My father suggested we go to a relative's house, Mr. Saiki, who was known for having strange supernatural powers. He had apparently experienced many unexplainable things in his life, so if anyone could help, it would be him. My father called him immediately, and Mr. Saiki agreed to see us. His house was only 5 minutes away by car. Even during the short drive, every time my sister turned to glance behind us, she whispered,
"It's still there. It's following us."
When we arrived, Mr. Saiki greeted us at the door, holding a small container in his hand.
"Good, you made it. Here, this might help a little,"
he said.
"Is that salt?"
My mother asked.
"Yep, like what you use after funerals. It's just cooking salt, but better to do it than not."
He sprinkled the salt on our shoulders and backs, then led us inside. He said,
"Yeah, it's here." "What do you mean it's here? You can see it?"
my father asked.
"Not exactly. Only your daughter can actually see it. I told it not to come in. It's standing outside by the front door."
We all turned to look at my sister. She nodded slowly.
"It can't come inside this house."
We all exhaled in relief.
"What exactly is it?"
my father asked.
"Well,"
Saiki began.
"I'm not an expert, but it's not a ghost per se. More like a massive fear, people's emotions that have gathered in that place. So it's not a spirit of someone who died there? No. When I first heard the story, I thought it might be, but it's something else entirely."
He explained.
When a place is known as a haunted spot, people go there thinking, ghosts appear, this is what they look like, this is what they do. Those thoughts, that fear, build up over time, layer upon layer. Eventually, it becomes something visible to those who are sensitive or easily influenced. That's what's standing at my doorstep right now. But none of us knew Sandanbeki was a haunted place,
I said.
Exactly. That's why none of you can see it, except your sister. She knew.
My mother turned to my sister.
Did you know?
My sister hesitated, then whispered,
Yeah, a friend told me. She said Sandanbeki was haunted, that people see ghosts there, and that they try to follow you home. I see.
Saiki nodded.
Fear makes things manifest. That's why you saw it. But what about the lights going out?
My father asked.
That was probably a minor manifestation. It happens. The more fear you feed it, the stronger it gets. The best thing you can do is believe that it doesn't exist. That's how you can make it go away.
He smiled.
Stay here tonight. By morning, everything will be back to normal.
And with that, he went to his room. We followed his advice, repeating to ourselves, there's nothing here. There's nothing to be afraid of. The next morning, my sister and Mr. Saiki quietly opened the front door and peered outside. There was nothing there. No strange sounds, no flickering lights, nothing. On the drive home, my sister says softly,
It's gone. It's not following us anymore.
The nightmare was finally over. The thought of something unknown following you, and that only one person can see it, is horrifying. Even now, part of me doesn't fully understand what happened, but I've come to realize that maybe, just maybe, fear itself can take shape, and what we call ghosts are sometimes the shadows cast by our own imagination. The Sandanbeki cliffs in Shirahama, Wakayama Prefecture are famous among divers for their dramatic underwater terrain, a place where the seafloor drops and rises like a living landscape. But few outside the area know that these same cliffs are also known by another name, a place where many have taken their final step. For years, people leapt from the edge of this sheer precipice, and it has since earned a reputation as one of Japan's most haunted coastal sites. Today, there's even a phone booth by the cliff called the Inochi no Denwa, the Lifeline phone, maintained by a local NPO called the Shirahama Rescue Network. It stands there as both a warning and a prayer, and what I'm about to tell you is a story connected to that very spot. It happened several years ago. A diving instructor was driving a van packed with 5 or 6 participants on their way to Shirahama for a weekend tour. It was around 7 p.m. They planned to reach their lodging by 10, but since it was summer and since the road passed near a famous haunted spot, the group decided to take a small detour for a kimodameshi.
Going straight to the inn is boring,
someone joked. The instructor grinned and turned the wheel towards Sandanbeki. Only the regulars knew where they were headed. For the first-time guests, it was a secret. Among the newcomers was a woman named Aiko. After some time, she asked,
"Are we heading to the lodge?"
The instructor said yes, and she didn't press further. But a few minutes later, she asked again. The same question, the same tone. That's when the instructor decided to tell her the truth.
"Well, not exactly. We're making a quick stop first."
Aiko was quiet for a moment. Then she said softly,
"I thought so."
And after a pause, she added,
"I should warn you. I'm sensitive. I can feel them, sometimes even talk to them. They tend to follow me, so if I'm with you, it might be dangerous."
No one took her seriously. They laughed it off, thinking she was just adding to the atmosphere. Soon, the van pulled up at Sandanbeki. The group climbed out into the darkness. Aside from a single street light, everything was pitch black. There were no houses, no shops, only the sound of waves smashing against rocks far below. And in the distance, one thing shone faintly, a green glow of a telephone booth. The group's nervous laughter echoed in the night.
"Creepy. Let's just take a quick look and go."
But Aiko said nothing. She stood very still, her expression unreadable. The instructor noticed and asked,
"You're not scared?"
Aiko turned to him, surprised.
"You mean you don't see them?" "See what?" "The phone booth. There are so many people crammed inside it."
One of the men, perhaps trying to show off, marched toward the booth despite everyone's protests. He pushed open the door, stepped in, and almost immediately stumbled out, pale and sweating.
"I feel exhausted, like something's on my back,"
he said. Aiko frowned.
"There are 3 of them, clinging to you, but they're not malicious."
Everyone laughed nervously, trying to shake it off. But then, one of the women began trembling uncontrollably. Her lips turned blue.
I need to leave. Now,"
she stammered. That was enough. The instructor decided it was time to get everyone back to the van. As they hurried along the path, Aiko suddenly stopped. Her face had gone white.
"That girl. Something's attached to her. And it's bad. Do you have salt?"
They ran to the van, rummaging through the trunk until they found a bag of barbecue salt left over from a trip. Without hesitation, they poured it over the girl's head. Instantly, the shaking stopped. No one doubted Aiko anymore. Even the skeptics began asking questions.
"How can we see spirits? Can anyone learn?"
Aiko smiled faintly.
"It's about awareness. Once you tune yourself, anyone can see them."
By the time they reached the inn, almost everyone swore they could sense something. Faint shapes, flickers of light, whispers at the edge of hearing. The next day, they dove as planned, the sea calm and clear as if nothing had happened. On the drive home, they laughed about the night before, calling it a great scare. Then, Aiko, who had been quiet until then, suddenly spoke.
Do you believe everything I said yesterday was real?
The car went silent.
What do you mean?
Someone asked. Aiko just smiled faintly and looked out the window. To this day, no one can say what really happened that night at Sandanbeki. They had all seen something, or thought they had. Perhaps it was real, or perhaps it was the power of belief, turning fear into form. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. If you ever decide to visit for a kimodameshi, please be careful. Watch your step and make sure curiosity doesn't lead to an unexpected injury. Location 5. Kiyotaki Tunnel. When it comes to haunted places in Kyoto, the first name that comes up is Kiyotaki Tunnel. Even those outside of the Kansai region who are fans of the paranormal have likely heard of it at least once. Among Kyoto locals, it's said that everyone knows about this tunnel. Countless frightening rumors surround it, and reports of supernatural activity never seem to stop. Before World War II, this tunnel was originally used as part of the Atago Mountain Railway, but after the line was discontinued, the tunnel was converted into a single-lane car tunnel. Because it's so narrow, a traffic light system was installed to allow cars to pass one direction at a time. As one of Japan's most notorious haunted tunnels, Kiyotaki has no shortage of terrifying rumors. But what makes it unique is that its stories are not quite like those of other haunted tunnels. Let's take a look at some of the most well-known legends associated with this eerie place. Number 1. The mysterious traffic light rule. Perhaps the most famous legend surrounding Kiyotaki Tunnel is tied to the traffic light at its entrance. Because the tunnel is single lane, the light alternates between red and green to control entry. But locals whisper of a strange rule. If you arrive at the tunnel and the light is green, do not enter immediately. Wait until it turns red and then enter only when it turns green the second time. Those who ignore this rule are said to experience supernatural phenomena inside the tunnel. Exactly what happens varies by account. Some report disembodied hands on their windows. Others hear whispers or see shadowy figures appear in their headlights. Whether this legend began as a safety precaution, since the green light phase is usually short, or has a deeper, more sinister origin, no one can say for sure. Still, those familiar with the place recommend, even if it's green, wait once and don't rush in. Number 2. The downward facing mirror. Another famous mystery near the tunnel is the mirror that points straight down. Normally, traffic mirrors are angled to reflect oncoming vehicles, but near Kiyotaki Tunnel, one mirror has been installed facing directly at the ground. This mirror has been featured in several Japanese TV ghost specials, and it's said that if you look into it at night, you might see your own corpse's reflection, or the face of an old woman staring back at you. Some say that if a car appears in the mirror when no car is actually there, it foretells an accident. However, there is in fact a practical reason for the downward angle. On steep mountain roads, mirrors are sometimes adjusted downward so that drivers can spot cars approaching from below on the opposite slope. So it's possible that this unusual mirror simply sparked people's imaginations. But the number of first-hand reports claiming to see ghostly images suggests there might be something more to it after all. Number 3. The footsteps that follow you. A third well-known rumor says that those who walk through the tunnel at night hear footsteps following closely behind, but when they turn around, no one is there. Some versions of the story are even more disturbing. As the footsteps draw nearer, if you look up, you'll see the spirit of a woman in high heels falling from the ceiling toward you. Others claim to have been chased by a ghostly old woman deep within the tunnel. Number 4. Handprints on the car. Like many haunted tunnels across Japan, drivers who pass through often find handprints on their car afterward, on the hood, the windows, or along the doors. Whether these are the marks of spirits reaching out for help or of something trying to pull them back inside, no one knows. Because Kiyotaki Tunnel is extremely narrow, walking or biking through it is not recommended and can be very dangerous. Even drivers and motorcyclists should proceed carefully, strictly obeying the signal system and avoiding reckless behavior. Locals still use this tunnel regularly for commuting, and they warn outsiders not to treat it as a place for kimodameshi. Those who do often find that something follows them home. This is a true story that happened to my younger brother. About 10-something years ago, not long after he had gotten his driver's license, my brother went on a drive toward Kyoto with 3 of his friends, 4 people in total. 2 sat in the front, 2 in the back. My brother was sitting in the left rear seat. At some point during the drive, someone brought up Kiyotaki Tunnel, a place infamous in Kyoto for being haunted. And of course, the group decided, why not go there? Before continuing, let me explain a bit about Kiyotaki Tunnel. It's quite famous online, but in our area, we're from southern Nara near Kyoto, there's a local superstition that says, if you arrive at the tunnel and the light is green, you must wait until it turns red and only go when it turns green again. If you go on the first green light, something terrible will happen. Exactly what that terrible thing was, neither my brother nor I really knew back then. Just that something bad would occur. Now, back to my brother's story. Those who have actually been to Kiyotaki Tunnel know this. After passing through a residential area, a narrow mountain road suddenly opens up, and that's where the signal light stands, all by itself. My brother and his friends, half curious and half unaware, ignored the light and drove straight into the tunnel without stopping. All 4 were smokers at the time. The driver and the 2 in the back had just finished their cigarettes, stubbed them out and rolled up their windows. But the friend in the front passenger seat kept his cigarette lit and his window half open as they entered. The tunnel was long, damp and oppressively dark. It twisted slightly and was narrow, claustrophobic, but otherwise uneventful. They didn't see shadows, hear knocks, or experience any kind of paranormal disturbance. By the time they were more than halfway through, everyone started to relax, even laugh.
It's just a rumor,
they said. The tension lifted. They began talking about where to go next, ready to move on. That's when a white sedan with Kyoto plates appeared behind them. Kiyotaki Tunnel is, after all, still a public road. Locals use it every day. The man in the car looked like an ordinary middle-aged office worker driving alone. My brother's car was now driving normally, not too slow, not too fast. But the man behind them suddenly began flashing his headlights violently, honking the horn over and over. When my brother and his friends looked back, they saw the man's face twisted in terror, and he seemed to be shouting something at them. They had no idea what was happening. Startled, they pulled over immediately after exiting the tunnel. The man stopped right behind them, jumped out of his car, and ran toward them, pale and trembling. At that point, my brother and his friends had completely forgotten about ghost stories or urban legends. All they saw was an unhinged man, and they feared he might attack them. But then the man flung open their car door and shouted,
"There was a woman hanging from your car! What the hell kind of dangerous driving is this?
He looked inside their vehicle, and as his eyes darted around, his face drained of all color. Of course, there was no woman inside. There had never been. The man explained that, as they were driving through the tunnel, he had seen a woman in a white dress clinging to their car door, her upper body halfway inside through the passenger window, her legs dragging along the road as she tried to climb in. Panicked, my brother and his friends, and the man, fled the scene without looking back. When my brother later told me what happened, it was the first time in my life that a ghost story gave me actual goosebumps. Thankfully, nothing strange ever followed him after that. Today, he's happily married and living a peaceful life, and I'm grateful for that. As for Kiyotaki Tunnel, I did some research afterward and found that the main rumor goes like this. If you enter on the first green light, a woman in white will fall onto your hood. Anyone who sees her face goes insane. My brother's experience was a little different, but the woman in white was the same. That alone was enough to chill me to the core, but now I can't help but wonder, what happened to that man who saw her? If the legend is true, then maybe he didn't escape unscathed. I can only pray that he's okay. After all, during Obon, our ancestors returned to the world of the living. Perhaps on their way, they stopped by familiar places, like curious tourists retracing old memories. If that's the case, maybe ghosts aren't so scary after all. As for me, our family will light the welcome fire tonight to guide our ancestors home. I'll be out this evening, but tomorrow I'll sit with them for a while, just to keep them company. It happened about 5 years ago, not long after I'd gotten my driver's license and started working full-time. One weekend, a colleague suggested a drive.
I know a great spot in Kyoto,
he said. He was born and raised there, so I figured he'd know. Our plan was simple. Spend the day sightseeing around Kiyomizu Temple, then stay overnight at a nearby inn with a hot spring. We met early around 7 a.m. and hit the road. But after nearly 8 hours of driving, something felt wrong. There was no sign of Kiyomizu Temple. No crowds, no city noise, just narrow country roads with no signboards at all. My colleague frowned.
Wait, this isn't right.
He pulled over to the side of the road and we checked the map again. We had somehow veered completely off course. The GPS had no signal, our phones, no reception. We were deep in the mountains, completely lost. A strange silence hung over the place. It didn't feel like we should stay there. We decided to cancel the inn reservation and just go home. It was already around 8 p.m. when we finally got moving again. The road wound downward through the dark mountain pass, and that's when we saw a familiar name appear on a worn old sign. Kiyotaki Tunnel. It's one of Kyoto's most famous haunted tunnels, a place we'd both heard about, but neither of us had ever visited. At least now we knew where we were. Relieved, we drove straight through the tunnel, but when we came out the other side, something was wrong. Ahead of us was the same tunnel. We drove through again, and again the same tunnel appeared. We passed through the Kiyotaki Tunnel 3 times, each time certain we'd left it behind, but each time finding ourselves right back at the entrance. No forks in the road, no turnarounds, no signs that we'd gone in circles. Just the same stretch of asphalt, the same stone walls, the same suffocating air. We didn't speak. We just kept driving, desperate to get out. When I finally made it home, it was 9 o'clock the next morning. We must have driven the entire night without realizing it. I collapsed onto my bed and fell asleep instantly. Even now, we don't know where we really went that night, or why the Kiyotaki Tunnel kept appearing in front of us over and over again. After becoming a working adult, I met up with some old friends in Kyoto for dinner. Later that night, I offered to drive them home, and on the way we happened to pass near the Kiyotaki tunnel, Kyoto's most famous haunted spot.
Isn't this place supposed to be haunted?
One of my friends asked from the back seat. Our Kyoto local just laughed.
It's fine. Nothing scary about it.
Then he said he wanted to walk through the tunnel alone. The rest of us waited near the traffic light at the tunnel's entrance. It was a hot summer night, and with all the windows rolled down, a faint cool breeze drifted in. The road was silent. No cars, no people, no sound but the insects in the dark. A few minutes passed, then suddenly a motorcycle pulled up beside the driver's seat. A police officer was sitting on it. Without looking directly at us, he muttered,
"What are you doing here? There's nothing here."
And then he rode straight into the tunnel. But something was wrong. There had been no sound of an engine approaching, no headlights, no vibration, nothing. He was just suddenly there. The officer's bike made no noise at all as it disappeared into the darkness of the tunnel. My friends and I stared at each other, speechless. Then it hit us that our friend was walking in the tunnel alone. We started the car and drove right in. About halfway through, we saw our friend ahead of us, almost at the exit. We stopped and shouted,
"Get in, now!"
Once he was inside, I asked him,
"Did you see the police officer? The one on the bike? Did he talk to you?"
He looked at me blankly.
"What police officer? No one came. I was just about to exit the tunnel."
We all looked at each other. No one said a word, and we kept driving. Then, out of nowhere, a massive deer, nearly a meter tall at the shoulder, appeared in the middle of the road. It stood perfectly still, blocking the path, its eyes reflecting no light. The driver slammed the brakes. He honked, but it didn't move, just stared at us for a long, silent moment. And then, as if melting into the trees, it turned and disappeared into the forest. Even now, I don't know what we really saw that night. Was that policeman something else entirely? How did his bike make no sound? Why was there no light? And that enormous deer, was it the guardian of the mountain? We'll never know, but somehow we all made it home safely, and nothing strange has happened since. I was born and raised in Kyoto. There's a quiet residential area in Kyoto called Kiyotaki, and what happened there to me, I still remember it vividly, even now. It was winter of my final year in high school. There were 4 of us, close friends who'd all just finished our club activities and were enjoying our last school days together. I had just gotten my driver's license, so naturally someone suggested a night drive. A little kimodameshi. I'd never been scared of that sort of thing. I thought it would be easy, fun even. We decided on Kiyotaki Tunnel, the most famous haunted tunnel in Kyoto's Ukiyo ward. It's deep in the mountains, a narrow, one-lane tunnel with traffic lights at each end. Quiet, claustrophobic, and just a little off. After you pass through the quiet houses of Kiyotaki and drive about 5 minutes deeper into the hills, you'll find it. We entered the tunnel, nervous but excited, and came out the other side without incident. Then, that's when one of my friends suddenly shouted,
"Hey, there are handprints all over the back left window."
At first, everyone laughed, but when we pulled over and looked, he was right. There were dozens of handprints pressed against the glass. We stopped at a convenience store, bought a towel, and tried to wipe them off, but no matter how hard we rubbed, the prints wouldn't come off. If anything, it looked like there were more of them. Creeped out, we decided to call it a night. I dropped everyone off and headed home alone. When I pulled into my garage, one of my friends called.
Hey, I think I left something in your car. Can you check?
I climbed into the back seat and found the item under the seat. As I straightened up, I hit my head hard on the window. It hurt a lot. It was the same window covered in those handprints. I rubbed my head, looked up, and noticed something strange. A small patch of the glass was clear, like part of the handprints had been rubbed away. I thought maybe my cleaning had worked after all, so I got out of the car and tried wiping the window again from the outside. But from the outside, the prints were still there. I leaned in, looked carefully at the glass, and realized the truth. The marks weren't on the outside at all. They were on the inside. The place where my head had hit was the only spot that had smudged from the inside of the glass. That's when my legs gave out. I couldn't stand because all those dozens of handprints had been made from inside the car. Location 6. Yamadaike Park. Yamadaike Park is a metropolitan park operated by Osaka Prefecture, located in Hirakata City. It opened to the public in October 1979. In the northern part of the park lies a large reservoir known as Yamada Lake. The reflection of the moon on its surface has long been admired and is celebrated as one of the 8 scenic views of the city. Within the park are facilities such as jogging courses, barbecue areas, observation plazas, and gardens like the aquatic flower garden and flower tree garden, allowing visitors to enjoy the beauty of nature in every season. It serves as a relaxing oasis in the middle of the city, frequented by locals and tourists alike. In autumn, families come to the park for acorn collecting and nature observation, making it a popular recreational area for the local community. However, behind its picturesque scenery, this park has a much darker reputation. It is known as one of Hirakata City's most infamous suicide sites. There have been numerous tragic cases, including hangings, drownings, bodies found in the pond, and even self-immolation in the restrooms. Most notably, the suspension bridge, Mizuki Bridge, which connects the southwestern parking lot to the inner park, has become known as a place where people have repeatedly jumped to their deaths, and is said to be a major source of the park's paranormal activity. Multiple unexplained and supernatural occurrences have been reported within the park. Let's look into them. Number 1. Spirits associated with jumpers from Mizuki Bridge. From the southwestern parking lot, a suspension bridge called Mizuki Bridge crosses into the park. The bridge has long been known as a site of many suicides, and these tragic events are said to have cast a lingering shadow over the park. At night, people report an eerie presence and sometimes even see ghostly figures near the bridge. Witnesses believe the spirits of those who jumped still wander the area, bound by regret or anger. Some say they have seen dark silhouettes beneath the bridge and felt as though something unseen was chasing them as they ran away. Number 2. Flickering lights and a woman's face in the park's restrooms. In certain restrooms within the park, people have reported the lights flickering on and off by themselves. When photographs were taken inside, the face of a woman appeared clearly in the image. This woman's ghost is believed to be the spirit of a woman who committed suicide in the park, her sorrow and lingering attachment manifesting within the confined spaces of the restroom. Number 3. Disembodied voices and feeling like someone staring at you when you walk through the park at night. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied male and female voices in areas where no one should be present. Others describe the unmistakable feeling of being watched, a piercing gaze from somewhere they can't quite pinpoint. These sensations become strongest in the stillness of the night. Many say they felt a chill run down their spine or suddenly experienced an overwhelming sense of dread, as though someone or something was standing right behind them. It is believed that the spirits of those who died there remain in the park, unable to move on, and that their presence causes these eerie sensations. Number 4. The boy on the red tricycle. An urban legend claims that a little boy riding a red tricycle appears in the park at night and chases visitors at high speed. However, unlike the other phenomena, this story is considered less credible and is likely the result of local rumor or folklore rather than direct witness accounts. The ghostly phenomena in Yamadaike Park are believed to stem from the many suicides and tragedies that have taken place there over the years. Jumpers from Mizuki Bridge, self-immolations in restrooms, drownings in the pond. Each event leaves behind an emotional residue that lingers long after death. It is thought that the unfulfilled regrets and suffering of these spirits manifest as voices, gazes, or ghostly images, especially at night. Given the abundance of witness testimonies and first-hand accounts, it's difficult to dismiss these events as mere urban legends. The park's lush natural environment may actually amplify spiritual energy, and when combined with its tragic history, the effects become especially pronounced after dark. So, it seems this park is a place of dual identity, a city of breathtaking beauty celebrated among the 8 scenic views of Hirakata City, yet also one shrouded in tragedy and haunting phenomena. It happened about 10 years ago when I was still a university student. Even now, I doubt that the atmosphere of that place has changed much. At the time, a few close friends from my department decided to have a barbecue. There was a designated barbecue area at Yamadaike Park in Osaka, so we agreed to meet there and hold the gathering on site. The park was a bit far from both my university and my hometown, so I met a friend at the station and we went there together. After passing through a residential area, a wide entrance came into view. The barbecue area was easy to find, just a straight path through the center of the park. I remember feeling slightly disappointed because I'd wanted to explore a bit before arriving. The park was filled with life, families with children playing on swings, elderly people painting or practicing Tai Chi, everyone enjoying the calm atmosphere in their own way. Since most of us weren't drinkers, we skipped alcohol and focused on the food. Grilling meat, laughing, and even playing ball and tag like kids again. By the evening, several people left for their part-time jobs or other plans, and in the end, 4 of us remained. We didn't do anything special, just talked idly as the sun went down. Before we realized it, the park had become completely dark. The once lively place was now silent, the only light coming from a few faint street lamps here and there, casting long, uneasy shadows.
Maybe we should head home,
someone suggested. The 4 of us started walking toward the exit. That was when I suddenly felt it, a sharp, piercing gaze from somewhere behind me. I turned toward it, but under the deep glow of the nearest streetlight, no one was there. Probably just my imagination, I told myself, and kept walking. The others hadn't noticed anything strange. They were still laughing, joking, their carefree voices echoing through the still air. Their laughter calmed me for a moment, and I began to forget what I'd felt, until I realized we had somehow returned to the exact same barbecue spot. The paths in the park form a ring around the pond, so at first we thought maybe we'd just looped around by mistake. But if that were true, we should have come out on the opposite side. Instead, we were back where we started.
Hey, haven't we been walking forever? Wait, didn't we just pass this area already?
Even my friends were beginning to notice something was off. Unease crept in. Still, we decided to keep walking toward what we thought was the exit, but no matter how far we went, the gate never appeared. The park is spacious and open. You should be able to spot the entrance easily, but it was nowhere to be seen. We must have wandered for over 30 minutes. Everyone was starting to panic a little. Then one friend had an idea.
Let's try that narrow side path over there.
We followed him, squeezing through a dim, narrow trail, and suddenly, there it was, the exit. The one we'd been searching for all that time. It didn't make sense. We had only taken the main road to reach the barbecue area earlier. There were no narrow paths like that. Had we really just missed it, or had something been leading us in circles? Either way, we finally got out. As we walked through the quiet residential streets toward the station, I once again felt that sharp gaze from behind me. The same as before. But this time, something inside me whispered,
Don't turn around. If you do, something irreversible will happen.
So I kept my eyes fixed straight ahead and walked quickly, never looking back. When the station finally came into view, when I saw the silhouettes of people and the glow of the city, I nearly cried with relief. My body was trembling. We never did figure out what happened that night. About 3 years later, I mentioned the story to a friend from Hirakata, someone who lived near the park. He froze and said quietly,
You shouldn't go there again. That park's been known as a haunted spot for years. Locals never enter after dark.
Since then, I've avoided talking about it at all. Every time I do. Because every time I do, I start to feel it again. That same cold, piercing stare.